Hey, this is Fred from North 40 Fly Shop in Great Falls, Montana, bringing you today a fly that lately we've been calling this the Smashburger balance leech. This thing works exceptionally well, especially it seems like this time of year when the water's starting to get cold. I've got a couple still waters close to Great Falls where boy, the fish just can't seem to leave this one alone. It's got a brown Marabou tail. The body is hairline UV Polar Chenille in the UV brown, and then we've got a little collar behind the hot bead of Ice Dub UV brown as well. And then we're building this up on a 90-degree jig hook, and then our balance point, we've got our bead, which is a 1/8 tungsten. And we're just putting that on a pin that we've cut to about 1 inch long. And then I like to slot that head of that pin in the fat side of the bead so it fits right in there like that. So we'll go ahead and tie this up. I do this in a couple different sizes, but the size 4 NU hook is just about perfect. A lot of the fish that we've been catching on this kind of run between 18 and about 28 inches, and this hook seems to be just about right. You can go smaller, definitely don't seem to need it to go bigger. I'm going to lay down my thread base. This is just some UTC 140. Spin that on down. Then I'm going to bring back up a bit. So then we've got our bead and pin. And I want that bead to have about a bead's width gap between the right angle of the hook and where the bead actually starts on the pin. So I'm going to take that up, and I'm really going to pull on my thread and get this thing locked down. Right on top, and then I'm going to come back and I'm also going to go ahead and lay a thread base down right over the pin itself because we'll be tying onto that. Alright, for our tail, just some brown marabou. I think this is actually tobacco brown from Spirit River, and I'm going to measure that tail off to be just about the shank length, maybe just a smidge longer. I like it to be flowing and have lots of movement. And I like to tie that marabou down right there in that gap after the pin, giving myself just enough space to get it in. That gives us a uniform body width. All right, then we're also going to tie in some wire. This is just some small amber ultra wire. You could use any wire you want. Honestly, the color doesn't matter. Sometimes I've used red or purple or something just to give it a little bit of accent. But the main reason is this thing gets chewed up, and so I want to make sure we're getting the stability that that wire can create. So I'm going to tie in my chenille, and then I'm going to bring over my bobbin cradle. And I like to use the cradle when I wrap this. We're going to get that chenille started, and after that first turn, I'm going to really pull up. And each time I make a turn, I'm going to sweep and tug. I really want to get this again locked down on that on the body of this fly. We've had some of these bugs catch 50, 60 fish before. If you take a little extra time making sure it's strong, you get a lot of fish on them. Just keep working our way up. And once we get to that right angle, we're going to bump right around, and I'm going to get one wrap up there on the pin. Move the cradle out of the way. Get that locked off. All right, now I'm going to trim this Polar Chenille. It doesn't need to be that long. So I'm just going to sweep it all up and do a cut. If a couple of those longer fibers end up wafting back in the tail, that's okay. I can always mess with it later. A couple of them, leaving them long is just fine. I'm going to trim this just a little bit wider than the hook gap. That's what my length is going to be. All right, so we got that locked in. Then we're going to come around with the bobbin cradle again. And I'm going to counterwrap this wire through my chenille. Just kind of wiggling it along. Going to trap a few fibers, but try not to get too many. I tied these without the wire for quite a while and then realized that, boy, the wire makes a huge difference in durability. Just takes a little while to get it all up there. And once we hit that hook eye, I'm going to just do another couple turns of that wire up there around the pin. We'll get our thread back up. And we'll cut that off. All right, so then to finish this fly, we're just going to bring in the little ice dub, the UV brown. Don't need a ton of this stuff, but I just want to fill in the space behind the bead and then just get a little bit behind that hook there. Just cleans this up and just makes it look just right. So make a quick little dubbing loop. Grab my tool. Grab the dubbing. I'm going to pop that in there. And then I'm going to give it a good spin. After I spin it, I like to take my scissor points and just come in there and kind of break those fibers and make them nice and flared out. And then I'm going to wrap. I'm going to get a wrap behind the, actually a full turn and a half behind the hook eye, and then we're just going to finish off building that gap behind the bead. And there we have it. That's pulled down nice and smooth. Little whip finish. One nice thing about the bead is it basically blocks the thread. As long as it has a chance to squeeze down, it's not going anywhere. You can certainly add some glue if you want, but that's not likely to come undone. And there we go. Smashburger balance leech. You can find all the materials to tie this fly at north40flyshop.com. It's been a good one for me. I hope you find a place for it in your fly box. Tight lines.